If you were to describe a game you've played as tactical, what would you think of first? Chances are you've thought of something in the vein of Rainbow Six, SWAT, Ghost Recon, Escape from Tarkov, or maybe even XCOM. What all these games do is make the player think about how they approach the scenarios provided. Rainbow Six encourages players to plan ahead, SWAT is more about taking situations dynamically, Tarkov is a risk management game. The point is that a good tactical game should encourage its players to think. Let's see if Ground Branch accomplishes this.
I regret taking the MPX. This thing is kind of doggy doo-doo.
Ground Branch is focused on those direct action scenarios you've seen in all kinds of media. There's currently two game modes, Terrorist Hunt and Intel Retrieval. Terrorist Hunt is your average go in and shoot everybody fair, and Intel Extract is essentially that, but you also have to steal some poor person's laptop. These scenarios take place in a variety of locations, from the woods of Eastern Europe to the metropolitan cities of the United States. There's a lot of environments at play here, and Ground Branch's complex customization complements it nicely. Players have access to a variety of rifles, SMGs, shotguns, snipers, pistols, and LMGs. Each of these weapons can be customized extensively with a large number of sights, lasers, flashlights, and grips to choose from. The character customization is also plentiful, with almost everything from head to toe being able to be changed. You can also place individual magazines and grenade pouches on your vest and belt, with those items directly affecting the carrying capacity of your loadout. Unfortunately, complexity doesn't mean in-depth. The example that I just gave is about as much as you're going to get with the customization system. Many of the weapon attachments just feel unnecessary. Despite the large number of grips in the game, none of them really do anything at all. It just makes your weapon look cooler and might make your character hold it differently. Some may say that it adds personality to each player's weapon, which is something I do agree with to an extent, but it just makes the whole system seem gimmicky rather than an actual core part of the game. There is a weight system, but you can only really see the effects of it through the types of weapons you have equipped, but even then, weight still doesn't change your playstyle that much. Let's talk about the levels. There are currently 12 levels in Ground Branch. This isn't bad for an early access game in terms of its content, and they look fine. There is a day and night cycle for each level, but it goes even deeper than that. You can select the specific time, day, or even month your operation takes place. This all dictates how high the sun is and what phase the moon is in. Moonlight is a critical factor in visibility in some of these maps and can really wreck your day if you decided you didn't want to use nods for whatever reason. You can't see in the dark, but your enemies can't too. Speaking of, how is the AI? You can choose how many enemies there are on the map and their difficulty, but as it turns out, your enemies are just really stupid, no matter the difficulty. Half of the time it doesn't feel like you're fighting humans, but rather robot vacuums stuck in a human body. They have trouble navigating through simple doorways and have some of the worst spatial awareness ever. They tend to flood through one entryway instead of trying to flank you, as they have no conceptualization of the environment past their line of sight. The only reason that these bots are able to really kill you in the first place is due to their high accuracy and the low time to kill that is associated with Ground Branch itself. This time to kill is something that I feel hurts the experience, and the difficulty settings really exacerbate this. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that players should be able to tank 15 bullets, that's simply not realistic, but I also don't believe that the one-shot, one-kill gameplay currently present is in any way fun. Ground Branch right now is more of a test of your reaction time, rather than your test of tactics. Sure, you can use grenades if you wanted to, but you'll get the same results faster by just moving your mouse to the nearest enemy with the one-shot Mark 17. There are mainly two visually distinct people you're going to be fighting, the generic terrorists and the Eastern European group of unknown origin. The problem, however, is the lack of distinction between these two groups and just in general. You have the occasional sniper, but they don't appear on all maps and are still relatively simple to take out, especially if the operation is taking place during the night. It would have been cool to have near-peer threats like night vision goggles during the nighttime, which force you to be disciplined in terms of your usage of your gadgets. Maybe have some people in dedicated roles for enemy squads like machine gunners or rushers. There are people with machine guns, but they behave exactly as a rifleman would, and they don't even put a flashlight on their weapons during the night. Now, this all makes for unimpactful, unmemorable firefights, but at least it looks cool, right? Now, I do have to give props to Blackfoot Studios here. It's clear that they've put a lot of time and effort into getting the details right in terms of their visual effects. The reworked night vision introduced in the latest update, V1033, looks stunning and is probably the best depiction of night vision I've seen in a game. I can't say the same for the sound effects though. The suppressed version of weapons don't feel punchy enough. I don't know how to put it, they sound more like blowback airsoft rifles than actual rifles. The environmental ambience is also criminal. There just isn't any. At all. Where there could be wind, buzzing insects, water dripping, or police sirens is instead just silence. The maps themselves could also improve a bit on the art direction side. They give off that classic Unreal Engine look you've seen a million times before, but they could also make the environments more detailed as a whole. You get a synopsis within the level description, but it's very vague and doesn't give you the whole picture of the scenario you're in. Okay, anyone who has been following Ground Branch even remotely knows about the abysmally long amounts of time it takes for updates to come out. Now, I don't have a problem with potentially waiting large amounts of time for things, otherwise I wouldn't be here playing early access games. I do have a problem with waiting and having all of that time go to waste, however. Version 1032 of Ground Branch focused on overhauling nearly every single aspect of the game regarding technology, which understandably takes a lot of time. Version 1033 was said to be an update on a much smaller scale than 1032, however. From 1031 to 1032, the time span was 8 months. From 1032 to 1033, it took 1 year and 2 months. I'm not sure about you, but something doesn't add up here. One thing that has been neglected within both of these updates is the gameplay design. Between the entire game's early access cycle, there's been only one additional game mode added, which is the Intel Retrieval game mode, but that still doesn't really mix up the formula. The game is repetitive fundamentally, and it will continue to be because nothing gets added per update, nor does anything in the game right now want to change anything up, which is disappointing to say the least.
Let's go.
Okay, I got this. Just stand back. Don't even try. And
Okay.
these people.
But
Just
Dog
watch.
Among Us fucking one tap. Yeah.
So, to get back to our question at the beginning, how does Ground Branch encourage its players to think? Well, it really doesn't. You can play any scenario in the game using the same kits and methods without really switching up things. The only reason you would actually change how you play is because of pure boredom. If a game encourages its players to use their minds because the game itself is so mindless, then it's a badly designed tactical game. Now, I'm not only disappointed in Blackfoot Studios, but also the gaming community regarding its attitudes towards these kinds of games. The thing is, everyone seems to be okay with this kind of development. The tactical gaming community as a whole has sort of hyper-focused on the small details within a game, and Blackfoot has done very well in that regard. There is clearly a lot of attention and care put into Ground Branch's finer details. They deserve to get praise in that department, but the problem arises when this praise starts to completely neglect the larger product as a whole. Some people cannot get past the fact that the customization, presentation, and variety is just a curtain for the bland and shallow gameplay of Ground Branch. I just can't recommend this product at its full price of $30. If you want to pick up a play Terrace Hunt game, get this when it's on sale, don't buy it for $30. If you're expecting anything more, find another game.
Thank you.